let's start while it's fresh with Mauricio Sarri.
Sorry, you said you wanted to talk about if he should be sacked. Do you want to go in that direction, or do you want to talk about just his tactics, or do you want to murph it into one?
Probably a little bit of both.
Okay, you start.
Okay, there's especially in the manner of which that Chelsea lost this game. There have been some people that have been questioning and / calling for Sarri to be sacked. I think that this is also coming up in the context of his recent post-game interviews where he talked about like not being able to motivate the team and like that this group of guys is really hard to motivate. And the day after this game in Chelsea training, there was rumors of like a big blowout between him and Marcus Alonso, that they got into like a shouting match with each other. And it seems like that we could be at a point where he's lost the locker room, almost like how it seems like with this Chelsea roster, we've inevitably hit this point with every manager that they've had recently, be it like Mourinho at the end of his most recent tenure, and then Antonio Conte, and then now with Mauricio Sarri. I don't know, while I do have a huge amount of problems with what Sarri did, we've talked about in the past his stubbornness in his tactics where he goes with the same 4-3-3, playing Conte out of position, keeping Alonso at left back, stuff like that, and how it's continued to not work. Chelsea are in a position now where like United and Arsenal have caught them. There's a good gap between them and Tottenham, so like the three of those teams are going to be battling for fourth place. And I know that a lot of times the blame gets placed on the manager, and sometimes rightfully so, and I think in this particular case, a good portion of that blame deserves to fall on Sarri. But this will now be, like, if, say, Sarri gets sacked, it'll be the third different manager in 4 years. And I think that Chelsea need to shift and replace a lot of their players. I actually think it's becoming like a culture problem within the club that you're getting the sorts of performances that we're seeing, where they're like, maybe the team itself is not coachable in the sense of, or like in comparison to other squads around them, because they fall into this same pattern regularly now, and it's the same group of players. And I don't think, this team has won 3 titles, 2 titles, 3 titles.
One with Conte, one with Mourinho.
They're at a point now where they're not going to win another title with this squad,
even
agree. If they keep Hazard. So I think they need, and the way that if they continue playing like this, like they're not going to have Hazard anyway. So I think now is a good time to consider rebuilding and just purge the club of like the bad apples.
So, so you think they should sack him?
I think that they should give. Well, I think if I had to pick one, I would say yes. But I think the problem is both.
Okay. So my points on this, I'm actually on the side of Sarri in the sense of the standard of Chelsea. I think they're probably going to sack him. I think they should keep him because I think he needs to have a couple windows where he's able to bring in players and then get rid of the players, like you said, that get, just they need to move on. The standard of Chelsea football is win now, and that's a big problem because what we've seen with them is you're having these culture or locker room disputes with every manager almost, the last 3 especially, and it's the same set of guys that are there, and it seems like that's not working, and they need to be able to have some kind of stability and also some kind of consistency. Who that manager will be, if it's Sarri's out, I don't know who that's going to be. There's probably a whole slew of names that they can list off. But like looking at what he's done so far this year, obviously he's dropped down to 6th in the league, but he's also going to be in a one cup final. He's also made or gotten Chelsea out of the group stages and into the knockout stages for Europa League, and he's still in the FA Cup. If he wins against United, that's another plus. So it's like he hasn't obviously met expectations in the league, but everything around that has been somewhat successful, and he's been able to he's doing it his way, obviously, too. They need to obviously, like you echo what you're saying, get rid of players, move some players in, bring in Pulisic in, even though that didn't even seem like he wanted him. If that made any sense?
Yeah.
Like even in his like interview, he says like they told him like, oh, like here's this player. Do you like? He's like, oh yeah, it's a good player. And then next, they sign him. It's like if that's how that works, if I was Sarri, I would want to get sacked honestly because you have no say in who you're signing. Really, you're just saying like, oh yeah, he seems, I like him, and then they sign him. It's like they just need to move out of that direction of trying to make the quick buck and move into more of a sustainable plan going forward. But like I said, I don't think he should be sacked, but I think he's going to be sacked. And yeah, how do you want to conclude this?
I just think that Chelsea need to be very mindful and very careful of how they approach this, because their squad is not necessarily in the best position for long-term success. Like you're saying, like they're constantly in like a win now sort of mode. And I think that if they're not careful, they could really collapse if this isn't handled properly.
Alrighty, let us know down in the comments down below of what you think. Should Sarri be sacked? Should he not be sacked? Do you agree with my point where you think he's going to be sacked, but they should keep him, allow him to bring in some players, get rid of some players? Let us know in the comments down below.